and welcome to my channel, and welcome to what is going to be me drawing with the glass pen, which should have been up yesterday but wasn't because this took me 4 days rather than 3 that I had kind of scheduled for. Is that the right word? Quite possibly, who the hell knows. But so I'm just using basic watercolor ink. This is what, like, Ecoline watercolor ink or whatever, because I don't have enough black ink that's not gonna bleed on me. I mean, this, if I added colors to this, it would, like, watercolor over this, it would just bleed like a bitch. And it would go everywhere and just, no, it wouldn't really be nice. So I'll probably color it digitally if I'm gonna color it at all. This is sped up, obviously, because this is 4 days worth of work. But, so, my comments on the glass pen. It's scratchy, like we know from opening it and testing inks. If I'm not careful, if I let the ink pull up too much on it, it will rip, or not tear or rip the paper up, just kind of get little fluffs up. I don't know so much if that's the pen, or it could be the paper, or it's just me. But, I mean, other than that, this is actually quite easy to use. You know, it's just like any dip pen. So that's okay, you know, and I'm alright with that. Would I use it in the future? Probably, because it really didn't take that long. The only thing is, because of the way I hold pens normally, I ended up getting ink all over my fingers. Like, I'm like, oh crap. But, you know, it's easy enough to wash off, even though my fingers at least, were stained for a couple days until it faded. But yeah, so this is a very tiny kestrel. This is actually drawn bigger than what the actual bird is. The bird is like the size of would fit in my palm, these little birds. So, but they're very angry, like tiny birds. They just look angry a lot. It's like, I'm going to rip your face off. But yeah, so the reference photos for this was taken at the Deer Center out in Fife. And they have got, like, bird thing there, so I got to hold a bunch of birds and see a bunch of birds. So I've got all kinds of reference photos for birds, which is great, because I draw a lot of birds, which is, you know, I draw a lot of, like, things, but birds lately have been what I've been drawing for the last, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, we'll say, when I'm drawing something that wasn't for uni. Didn't get much chance to draw birds at uni. Didn't draw birds at uni at all, actually. College, but not at uni. And I've had taken, like, illustration or fine art, more likely fine art. I could have done, like, bird etchings, which I do a lot too, but I'm not going to do a video, and I've covered this before. Etchings take a bloody long time, and I might show how to change the etchings to, like, actual prints, because I don't have a printing press, because they're huge and expensive, and I'm poor. You know, so can't afford a press, nor do we have the space in a typical British house unless you put it outside, and that ain't gonna happen. And they're heavy, and trying to find one that's in decent nick, kind of hard, unless you've got, like, some school that's getting rid of them, and then they'll, you know, hopefully sell it to you for cheaper than what it costs to get a new one. But anyway, so no etchings for me, because I'll etch, but I'm not doing a video because they take forever. And so this is why I like this so much, because it kind of reminds me of etching, because it's a lot of, like, lines and hatching, but with ink, which I'm moving the paper because I'm like, don't get your hand on the wet ink, which is probably why it took me 4 days to do this, because I had to let certain parts dry before I could do cross hatching or add lines on top, because if you added lines on top of and it goes with anything, I don't think that was the glass pen, if you added lines on top of already existing lines trying to get a cross-hatching mark, it would just bleed together and create a blob of ink, and that's not the look I wanted. I wanted more of a cross-hatchy kind of look to it. This is zoomed in, because if I hadn't zoomed into this, you wouldn't see too much what I'm doing, so that's why I've zoomed this in. So it's a little bit blurry, so it's not your eyes that are blurry, it's me having zoomed in that causes it to be blurry. But yeah, so I'm just working on the head here, creating little tiny tufts of feathers, because they're two different colors. I mean, they have typical raptor coloring, like they've got like the black marks under their eyes. See, new day. The lighting changes. And by the beak there's like another black mark. So you get them on like peregrine falcons, and so that's the thing. So they're like mini peregrine falcons. I guess, like I said, very tiny birds, very angry. They're cute though. I do love like the way they look. And then I'm just adding back feathers. Now I did the main black markings first, and I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. Because I thought I'd do that first and then go in and do the hatching on top of it. Because then if I've got the main black markings down first, then that's one thing done and I don't have to worry about it. And then I can see where it needs shading more with the main markings done. And this is a basic profile shot of a bird. Yeah, it's not quite 3/4 because you really can't see his other eye, and you just see his wing and a bit of his chest, which is white and a bit brown in the photo and in person, but I could have used a bit of brown inks, but I thought I'd just make this black and white just for simple sakes, pretty much. Simple sakes, that's not what a word, Jen. For simplicity, that's what I'm thinking of. That's the word I'm thinking of. But yeah, so I had to make sure there was a space between the wing and his back because you need that defining kind of space, and then you need another one because it's his wing folded up like against his body, so it's not completely straight. There's a bit of a, oh god, I don't know how to explain that. I know what it looks like because I've drawn so many freaking birds, but maybe here I'll be able to show you. I don't really know. You see the lower, why am I pointing at the screen? You can't see what I'm doing. I'm adding a bit of loose fur, but you don't actually end up seeing in the end with all the shading I end up adding to it, but that's okay. See there, you can see the break there because the way this wing is folded, you know, you need to have that bit of a break between the sections of the wing because he would be there. But I'm trying to think of things to say. This is a very simple drawing, but yeah. And using the pen for making the big blobs was easy enough, and it wasn't too scratchy actually on the Bristol board paper, which is just all this is. I mean, it did get a bit scratchy if I put too much ink, actually, oddly enough, and not enough ink, so you needed a specific amount of ink for it not to make any noise or to run smoothly across the paper. And you had to hold it a certain way, which was hard for me because I hold pens really odd. But if you hold it more upright and let it run down the little grooves in the glass, it works better, obviously. But like I said, I hold pens at quite an angle, so holding it straight was kind of like, okay, brain work and remember to hold it a certain way. So I'm just adding basic. This is where I'm adding the shading? I don't know, is it? Yes. No, I'm adding basic, simple shading to the back. And just very simple. Just a bunch of lines. Trying to follow the the shape and placement of the feathers as much as possible at the first stages. But near the end, I just give that up and just add lines. So I could have probably saved a step and saved time at this point. So I'm just darkening up the head a bit because there are some parts on the head that should have been a bit darker. Not too dark because the head was like a grayish kind of color with a bit of red in it. Well, not red, more of a browny red color, I guess. And then now, see, another day, new shading, new lighting. The lighting has been really odd because it's been gloomy, grey, sunny thing. It's like Scotland, make up your mind. But like I said, I'm adding shading and trying to curve the lines a bit so that they go with the angle of the feathers and the angle of the wing, because it is quite curved in certain parts where the feathers are, so you kind of need to show that with them. But it kind of looked okay, and I made it more round and actually look like it was folded up on itself because I'm trying to create shape with it, and just a bit more shading on the back because it needs it because it was a bit white. in certain areas, because the feathers in his back are like brownish, reddish kind of color, and I don't know what you'd even call it, to tell you the truth. It's a very brown, red, gray, black. I don't know. He's not a very colorful bird, but he does have a bit of color in him when you look. So I had a bit of shading underneath his neck because I hadn't added a lot of darkness to that, and I need it. So I'm just making sure this part of the wing actually has a bit more shape to it, because in the image it is very round, we'll say. So, but yeah, it is very round. And round's not the right word either. Curved? Maybe curved? It could be curved. I don't know. But, and then where there's like a dip in the feathers, make sure there's more shading there too to keep it more dark. Or keep it more dark, make it darker. Can't find my words today. And just add a bit more shading because it really needed it in certain parts to try to make it come to life, I guess you want to call it. But this isn't finished, and I definitely, as you can see, added more shading to it when I was finished. Well, before I finished it, then I finished it. And I didn't want to, I thought, why, you've already seen me shade some of it, so you don't need to see me shade all of it. So, it is finished. I added shading to the front of his chest, where it's more white than black, red, brown, whatever you want to call it, like I said, and made sure I added some shading to his back because it was a bit too flat. But overall, I'm actually quite happy with the way this turned out. I'll probably do some more, whether it was with the glass pen or with my dip pen. I don't really know, but I forgot how much I actually loved working with ink. Used to do it all the time when I was a teenager, and I should do it more, actually. This video reminded me I should do that. So, verdict on the glass pen, it's okay. Just gotta make sure you get the right amount of ink with the pen. And it's not actually made for this. I'm pretty sure it's just for like writing. But it works for this. So that's all that matters. And I'll probably do something else in the future with it. So thank you for watching me use the glass pen. And thank you for watching me make a cute little angry bird. Because it was very cute. And it looked really angry, like I'm going to rip your face off. But it is done. And the next video will be... I actually don't know what I'm going to do next, but come back on Saturday and see.